A group of villagers gather around a dimly lit table, their voices hushed as they discuss the local ghost story. In a quaint corner of the world, a tale is woven that chills the bones of even the bravest soul. In a humble village inn, a group of locals sit, their faces obscured by the flickering candlelight. Among them, a newcomer, Thomas, his curiosity piqued by their hushed whispers. "You're fresh off the boat, aren't you, lad?" one villager asks, an air of knowing in his voice. Thomas nods, his eyes reflecting the dim glow of the candle. "Just arrived this week," he admits. "What's all this whispering about a ghost?" The villagers exchange glances, their faces a mixture of fear and intrigue. "It's not just a ghost," one of them leans in, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's the whispering woman." Another villager chimes in, his voice trembling. "Best not to speak her name, especially not after dark. She might hear you." Thomas, ever the skeptic, presses on. "And who is this whispering woman, then?" The villagers look at each other, and one of them begins the tale. "Her name was Elspeth. Years ago, she went into the moor one autumn night, and never came back." The second villager adds, "Some say she got lost. Others say someone lured her there, left her to wander alone in the mist." Thomas, a smirk playing on his lips, dismisses their fears. "A legend to scare travelers. I'll walk Willow Moor myself tonight and prove it's nothing but wind and shadows." Little did he know, the whispering woman was more than just a legend. But as the night drew near, and the villagers retreated to their homes, Thomas prepared to face the moor, the whispers of the villagers echoing in his mind, their warnings unheeded. As the last candle in the inn flickers out, Thomas makes his declaration. "I'll walk Willow Moor myself tonight and prove it's nothing but wind and shadows." Alone in the eerie silence of Willow Moor, Thomas holds his lantern high, dismissing the chilling whispers as mere figments of his imagination. The mist, like a spectral shroud, swallows the path behind him, leaving him adrift in a world of shadow and sound. Each rustling leaf, each distant hoot of an owl sends a shiver down his spine. Yet he trudges on, plucking up courage from the depths of his skepticism. As he ventures deeper into the moor, a faint whisper drifts on the wind. It's an ethereal plea, a ghostly echo that seems to call out from the heart of the moor itself. "Just a story," Thomas reassures himself, but the whispering voice is insistent, growing clearer with each passing moment. "Please, wait," it murmurs, as though carried on the very mist surrounding him. Thomas halts, his heart pounding in his chest. He scans the moor, his lantern casting long, dancing shadows that play tricks on his mind. "Who's there?" he demands, his voice echoing in the silent expanse. The moor responds with silence, leaving Thomas with nothing but his racing thoughts. But then the whisper returns, louder, more desperate. "Come back," it pleads. The mist thickens around him and the shadows seem to writhe and shift of their own volition. The whispering voice is no longer a distant echo, it's here, right beside him, enveloping him in its ghostly plea. And then she appears. A figure materializes in the mist, a woman adorned in a torn old-fashioned dress. Her hair flows like the branches of the willow trees around them, and her face, streaked with spectral tears, is a haunting vision of sorrow. "Elspeth?" Thomas whispers, his skepticism shattered by the ghostly apparition before him. The figure extends her hand, reaching out to him. "Help me, please," she whispers. Mesmerized, Thomas steps towards the ghostly figure, his skepticism replaced with a trance-like fascination. The next morning, the villagers gather at the inn, their faces etched with concern. Thomas is nowhere to be found. The air is thick with a sense of dread and regret. The villagers, their faces casting long shadows in the morning light, share uneasy glances. The talk of the previous night, once hushed and speculative, now feels all too real. The empty chair where Thomas had sat, laughing off their tales, serves as a chilling reminder of their failed attempt to warn the newcomer. "Thomas, poor lad." The words hang heavy in the room, echoing the collective remorse. "We tried to tell him, didn't we, about Elspeth, the whispering woman?" The village elder's voice trembles slightly, a stark contrast to his usual firm and sturdy tone. But he wouldn't listen, just like the others before him. A silence follows, punctuated only by the crackling of the fire and the occasional clinking of mugs. The villagers, lost in their thoughts, are bound by a shared sense of guilt and sorrow. The loss of Thomas is not just a personal tragedy, but a communal one. He was brave, or maybe just foolish, but he didn't deserve this. No one does. The innkeeper's voice wavers, her usually warm eyes now clouded with sadness. She pours another round of ale, the liquid sloshing in the mugs, a somber toast to the missing. The villagers nod, their faces solemn. It's a scene all too familiar to them. The loss, the regret, the acceptance. The whispering woman, once a legend, has once again proven her terrifying reality. Each disappearance, each loss, a grim testament to her haunting presence. As the day wears on, the villagers continue their whispered conversations, their voices barely rising above the crackling fire. The empty chair remains as a haunting reminder of Thomas, the brave, the foolish, the lost. They fall silent, each glancing uneasily at the distant moor, the loss of Thomas serving as a grim reminder of the haunting presence that lurks within.